I do want to turn our eyes now to the United Kingdom, where President Trump in the last few days or just yesterday arrived there, and we saw not just the prime minister, but we saw the royal family really roll out the red carpet, really show those that legacy of U.S. and English partnership for. And I think it's very interesting. Right now, we are living at a time where there's a lot of foreign wars going on. There's a lot of sort of turmoil. It feels just geopolitically, and without a doubt, the United Kingdom, England, is one of our strongest allies. But through the years, England has joined NATO. Then we saw Brexit. They've kept their own coin. They've kept their own trade deals. And I think now this is the first time in modern history that a U.S. president comes for a second time and really has that royal treatment. Something that I know Trump is very excited about. Trump, I think, really likes when that red carpet is rolled out for him, especially by a royal family. I mean, this speaks a lot to the power of both nations. But I want to turn our attention to a $42 billion tech and trade deal that was struck by both nations. This is something that really leans into what they call tech prosperity. Alejandro, I want to continue with you. When you think of, and you were again here a couple weeks ago where we talked about the future of AI, what this administration has done with deregulations. Take us to what you see about this $42 billion investment that both countries are doing. This is not domestic policy. Now we're talking about an international partnership. We're talking about a United Kingdom where the current prime minister is not as conservative as Trump, where he is leaning a little bit into the United States when it comes to deregulation and allowing these investments. What's your opinion? What's your take on the situation?
One of the things that we really have to understand is that it's one of the oldest relationships we have, right? Like, if you look at our revolution, our founding elements, it's literally come from Britain. I think this is strengthening our foreign policy ties. It's been an intelligence partner who's been incredible for us in terms of its sharing intelligence from that perspective. It's also been a great trading partner. And we now see them as a great positioning for trade and economic development. When you now look at yesterday's gathering that was historic, one of the things that really stood out for me was the number of tech CEOs in attendance. You had Mark Benioff, you had Sam Altman, you had Tim Cook, you had the NVIDIA CEO. So there were a lot of presence there from very tactical and intentional. These $42 billion is actually, I want to say it's a symbolic gesture. It's not as big as the Middle East investment of over $1 trillion, but I think it's the first step towards continuing to build a more robust relationship with England, where maybe some American values that are being put forward towards can actually be adopted by the English right now, right? We see that freedom of speech is being tracked there right now. We see an immigration issue that's being tracked there right now. We see a lot of domestic terrorism happening there as well. So I think from that perspective, tech and culture can start influencing some of the policies. And I think this is bigger than technology. I think this is going to derive a more America first perspective in terms of being able to be a nice trade partner from a different perspective.
How do you, Judy? How do you think this news is received here in the United States? Right, there's without a shadow of a doubt, tech has transformed how we live. When we think of the gig economy, right? When we think of Uber, when we think of DoorDash, when we think of people selling courses online. I mean, that's because of tech. But then the new wave of AI, right? Robotics and self-driving cars. And when we talk about that next generation, right, that they want to reach that American dream, tech and AI and data centers, all these places will be key. So Alejandro mentioned there was the investments and the partnerships in the Middle East that reached into trillions. But also, again, this one with the United Kingdom, could this send a signal to other countries in the European Union or in Europe to partner with the United States? What do you think? How is this news received back home here in the United States?
I think this, this is unique to Trump. This is a tech first diplomacy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but we're usually traditionally you have prioritization of defense and foreign policy. So here he's doing it very differently. America first, business first, and now tech first, because he understands that this is the future. We talk about how much he likes the pomp and circumstance, the ceremonial, but I think he likes that because it presents the United States in a very powerful position, but it also helps him establish a personal relationship. Building a personal relationship with these dignitaries is so important if you're going to do business, right? The art of the deal.
Yeah.
Whereas usually, these presidents come in at the tail end after things have already been hashed out by their staff. Trump does it differently. Trump wants to establish the personal relationship. He wants to make the deal. And, I think it's a strategic hedge against China, deepening alliances with our trusted partners to counter this tech authoritarianism and global supply chain vulnerabilities that we know exist with China. I think it's going to be very well received in the United States. We need to build more of that. It's a clear pivot toward economic statescraft, and we need much more of that.
That's such an important point because we sort of have the same competitors, right? England is also competing against China. The United States is competing against China. And something that the U.S. has with England that I mentioned earlier, and Alejandro mentioned as well, is just decades upon decades of strategic partnership. If not our most unique and most primary partner is England. I would say essentially vice versa. There are areas of disagreement. If we were to note, many critics are talking about the difference in opinion when it comes to Gaza, the difference in opinion when it comes to Ukraine. But there is that alliance. And before moving on, because we're going to talk a little bit about China, you mentioned this, Alejandro, that there is going to be, I think, a little bit of a Trump effect when it comes to the opinion of individuals in England. We saw several protests against President Trump. That happens here in the United States. Anywhere where he goes, there's going to be critics. But there's also a lot of people who came out in favor of sort of supporting England. There's a conversation being had right now when it comes to immigration, right? Who should be coming in or out? What are their immigration policies when it comes to crime? And you mentioned all of these things. So I think, I'll say this, I think that conversation will continue. The president is there right now at the moment. I think later on today at 2 p.m. our time here, Eastern Standard, there will be a press conference where the Prime Minister and Trump will be discussing